Let's take a look at a comparison between simple interest and compounding. So what's going on with the simple interest? So using this example, I'm going to show you what's the main difference. So imagine that you are trying to invest $5,000. Okay, so $5,000 is your initial investment, and you are investing it for 3 years. Now, if it's a simple interest, what happens with that? So first of all, you're going to take the $5,000 and you multiply it by the simple interest rate, which is 2%. So here on the side, I'm just going to go ahead and compute it. So 5,000 multiplied by 0.02, because remember 2% is you need to divide it by 100. And so you're going to get $100 in interest. Okay, and that's going to be added to your initial investment. So at the end of 1 year, you're going to get $5,100. Okay, if this was 2%, at 2%. Okay, what happens next with the simple interest? Well, exact same thing happens. The interest is $100, and every year this $100 is going to be added to the previous amount. So again, it's going to be like 5,200. Okay, and then by the end of year 3, that's going to grow to 5,300. Okay, so the main formula for the interest, if you wanted to just derive it as one step, for simple interest, it would be PRT, where P is the principal, so 5,000, multiplied by the rate, which is 0.02, and multiplied by 3 years. Okay, so that would be, what's the total number? What's the total amount of interest? That would be $300, right? So the amount that you would get is 5,300 because you added to the original amount. Now, what happens if the interest was compounded every year? What does that mean? Okay, so again, imagine that you take in the $5,000 and you invest in it as 2%. And at the end of the first year, it'll be exact same amount because in this case, interest is compounded, as they say, once a year. Okay, but then what happens? Then what they do is they take the new amount. So this is like your new principal, and they find interest on that, which is going to be a little bit larger, right? Because now you're not multiplying 5,000 times 0.02. Yeah, you're multiplying 5,100 times 0.02. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, so now we're going to get actually $102 that we're going to add to the previous amount. So if you had 5,100 and you add $102, you will get 5,202. So compare what happened over here to what happens over here. So you get a little bit more money, right? With the compounding of interest, because your interest is earning interest. Now let's see what happens next. Okay, so now we're gonna take this amount, okay, not the original 5,000, but the new amount, 5,202, and we're gonna take 2% of that. So it's gonna be 104.04, and let's add that to this amount. Okay, so 5,202 plus 104.04. So now what you're gonna get is $5,306.04. Okay, so if you compare them, which one is better? So you can see that this guy is giving you 5,300, but this guy actually gives you 5,306.04. So it looks like the compounding, even though it was only done twice at the end of each year, does give you a advantage. Now, I have a worksheet that you can use because you don't want to like write it out every time. You can use to get this part B, right? So the worksheet is called future value. So you open this worksheet. It's under resources, okay? So it's under resources over here. So if you're looking for where it is, it's right here. And then you would click on that, and then you want the future value worksheet. So you want to open it in a sidebar. All right, and so here you're gonna have to fill out some things. So first of all, the worksheet is gonna ask you, what is your present value? In other words, how much are you investing? So I'm gonna say 5,000. Okay, what is the annual rate? Well, the rate is 2%. So you change the numerator to whatever your rate is, but do not remove divide by 100 because the rate has to be converted to a decimal. Then it's gonna ask you, how many years is your investment? And we have 3 years. And finally, it's going to ask you how many times you are compounding in a year. If you are compounding annually, as it says here, annually. You see the word after the word compounding, it tells you how many. That tells you that the number of times your investment is compounded per year is just 1 because they compound every year. So this value should be 1. And then when you scroll down, it'll tell you the answer right there, 5,306.04.